what is this document all about in the first place? For that, travel with me half a century back in time to 1971 to the United Nations headquarters in New York. The 26th session of the UN General Assembly, the main policy-making body of the United Nations, was gripped by a heated debate who should represent China. Mind you, this was 22 years after the People's Republic was founded. Chiang Kai-shek, the former leader of China, had been defeated in the Civil War and escaped to Taiwan. Having lost his legitimacy, Chiang's people illegally held on to China's seat at the UN. This was not acceptable. Beijing insisted that that seat belongs to the 800 million Chinese people represented by the People's Republic of China. Chiang Kai-shek actually shared the view that there could only be one seat, as there was only one China, although he falsely claimed to be its legit leader. How did things play out? The People's Republic had been fighting for 2 decades to reclaim China's lawful seat at the UN, but guess who was standing in the way? Chiang's staunch ally, the United States, had a strategic stake in isolating new China. It deployed all kinds of tactics to block Beijing's bid, keeping the matter off discussion, setting a high bar for any change, requiring a 2/3 majority instead of a simple one. And when that was not enough, they even attempted to create 2 seats. Desperate indeed. But time was on our side. The PRC survived and persisted. As more developing countries joined the UN, they rallied behind Beijing. October 25th, the day of the showdown. Members first voted down one final American attempt to obstruct the matter. Loud cheers erupted in the hall. Knowing his fate, Chiang's men left the room.
They couldn't represent anybody except what the Americans wanted them to say. I think they were an embarrassment to China, to the Chinese people.
Charles Liu is from Taiwan and witnessed that pivotal moment. As a 21-year-old Princeton student, he was closely following what was happening. So when the day finally arrived, he and a group of friends headed straight for the UN.
When the 2/3 vote requirement lost, the motion lost, and we knew this was going to happen, that China would be restored to the United Nations. It was very, very exciting. At that time, it was the non-aligned countries, led by Algeria, Tanzania, and a number of others who led the charge.
128 countries cast their solemn vote on a draft resolution tabled by developing countries to restore Beijing's lawful seat. The hall fell silent as the vote counting began. The results were 76 votes for, 35 against, and 17 abstentions. In a landslide, Resolution 2758 was passed. Many delegates cheered, even danced to celebrate the result, while the US delegation sulked.
I remember watching Ambassador, I think he's called Salim of Tanzania, dancing in the aisles. It took so many years of effort by friends of China to promote this, to get it done. And I think China will remember that.
Over 50 years later, he still gets emotional when remembering that moment.
What this country has gone through goes beyond description. What it has done for its people cannot be imagined in human history. And that day is the beginning of the world getting to know the China that we know.
20 days later, the delegation from Beijing, led by then Vice Foreign Minister Chiao Guanghua, took their seats behind the name tag China, a truly historic moment. When asked how he felt, Chiao let out a victorious laughter. Could there have been a better way to answer this question on behalf of the 800 million Chinese people? Resolution 2758 was actually very short. It contained only 153 words. The central decision, and I quote, was to restore all its rights to the People's Republic of China and to recognize the representatives of its government as the only legitimate representatives of China to the United Nations. The document decides to expel forthwith the representatives of Chiang Kai-shek from the place which they unlawfully occupy at the United Nations and in all the organizations related to it. The resolution set the foundation of the UN position concerning Taiwan. During the following year, in 1972, the World Health Assembly adopted another resolution recognizing the PRC as the only legitimate representatives of China to the World Health Organization. This position has been upheld ever since. In 2007, when asked to consider Taiwan's application to join the UN, delegations at the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly agreed that the bid was not acceptable for legal reasons linked to General Assembly Resolution 2758 that gave China's seat in the Assembly to the People's Republic of China. In 2024, chief spokesman for the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres reiterated this time-honored position.
It means in terms of our standing on Taiwan as a province of China.
There it is. You heard it from the horse's mouth. The United Nations considers Taiwan as a province of China. That's why Taiwan has no membership in the UN or any of its agencies. There's no Taiwan flag flying outside any UN buildings.